We live in interesting times. Today's stories. German police search a village near Halle after a deadly shooting. Climate activists attend a conference before the C40 summit in Copenhagen. Thai rangers retrieve dead elephants from a river with a net. Beijing basketball fans are disappointed with the NBA and say, quote, "We love basketball, but we love our country more." U.S. civil rights birthplace elects its first black mayor. California turns off power to prevent wildfires. Trump tweets, quote, "U.S. going into Middle East was worst decision ever." Ex-President Bush's paintings tell of the toll on those he sent to war. Plus, Hawaii's iconic Blaisdell Center is scheduled to undergo a multi-million-dollar makeover. This is Eagle News coming to you from Las Vegas, bringing you stories from around the globe. I'm Anna Kui. German police officers searched the village of Widdersdorf, looking for the shooters who targeted a synagogue in a Turkish restaurant in Halle. At least 2 people were shot dead in the German city of Halle on Wednesday, with witnesses saying a synagogue was among the gunmen's targets as Jews marked the holy day of Yom Kippur. One suspect was captured, but with a manhunt ongoing for other perpetrators, security was tightened in synagogues in other eastern German cities, while Halle itself was in lockdown. Urging residents in the area to stay indoors, police said on Twitter, quote, "Early indications show that 2 people were killed in Halle. Several shots were fired." Police said the perpetrators fled in a car, adding later that one suspect had been caught. Jewish community leader Max Privorotsky, who was in the Halle synagogue, told Stuttgarter Zeitung that, quote, "We saw through the camera of our synagogue that a heavily armed perpetrator wearing a steel helmet and rifle was trying to shoot open our door." He said, quote, "The man looked like he was from the special forces, but our doors held firm," adding that there was also an attempt to shoot open the gate to the neighboring Jewish cemetery. He said, quote, "We barricaded our doors from inside and waited for the police." Privorotsky said between 70 and 80 people were in the synagogue on a day when Jews around the world were marking one of the holiest days in the Jewish calendar. A spokesman for the city's hospital said 2 people also suffered serious bullet wounds in the attack and were being operated on. Germany has been on high alert following several attacks in recent years, including some claimed by the Islamic State group, as well as neo-Nazi plots. Anti-terrorist prosecutors confirmed that they were taking over the probe, given the particular importance of the case, which he said involved violent acts that affect the domestic security of the Federal Republic of Germany. Bill Daily reported that one of the 2 shot dead were killed in front of the synagogue, while a hand grenade was also flung into a Jewish cemetery. Witness Konrad Rossler told news channel NTV he was in a Turkish restaurant about 600 meters away from the synagogue when a man wearing a helmet and military uniform tossed a hand grenade. Youth climate activist Jamie Margolin asked mayors to, quote, "understand the fear and despair that young people live with on a daily basis because of the climate crisis," at a press conference ahead of the C40 summit opening in Copenhagen, where mayors recognize global climate emergency. While newly elected C40 chair Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti underlined 425 American mayors accepted the Paris Agreement.
We refuse to be the last letter of the alphabet. We are Generation GMD, the generation of the Green New Deal, and all leaders have 2 choices. 1, join us, adopt a Green New Deal in your community or your constituency, and take action to save your children's futures, or you have a second option, get out.
Like I said, we are in a climate emergency. We must be clear. It's an emergency unlike any that we have ever faced before, because what is at stake is nothing less than our survival and the survival of successive generations. You might hear a lot of things about America and climate these days, but we represent, in this room, at least 3 of the 425 mayors, Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, who have accepted the Paris Climate Accords and said, even if the White House is out, we are in.
You, Eric, will lead our network and this Green New Deal, this Nouvelle Alliance Verte with determination and even greater ambition. Thank you very much.
Meanwhile, in Thailand, the environment minister said Wednesday 5 more dead elephants had been found at the bottom of a Thai waterfall known as Hell's Abyss, as rangers reinforce barriers to try to stop the creatures wandering into the dangerous area. Drones were used to make the latest grim discovery at the waterfall in Khao Yai National Park, bringing the number of elephants who fell to their deaths in the disaster to 11 after 6 bodies were found over the weekend. Elephants are known to develop strong social bonds, and officials believe a younger one slipped off the cliff, prompting a doomed attempt by the others to reach it. Safety measures are being beefed up at the park around 120 kilometers or 70 miles northeast of Bangkok, where officials are helping create more water and food sources nearby to discourage other elephants from returning to the deadly spot. Natural Resources and Environment Minister Varawut Slipa Archa said, quote, "I have instructed them to reinforce the fences and barricades that they currently have." Elephants are Thailand's national animal, but numbers in the wild have dwindled to only a few thousand due to deforestation and habitat loss. Varawut said, quote, "They follow their leaders, and sometimes when the young ones fall, it is only natural that the elder ones will try and reach down and help."
คือตอนนี้พยายามให้ไวที่สุดนะครับแต่ว่าเราก็ต้องคำนึงถึงความปลอดภัยของเจ้าหน้าที่ที่จะเข้าไปดำเนินการด้วยแล้วตอนนี้ผมมองไปที่เรื่องของแผนในระยะยาวในอนาคตมากกว่าเพราะว่าทางท่านรองนายกรัฐมนตรีนะครับพลเอกประวิตรวงษ์สุวรรณแล้วก็ทางท่านรัฐมนตรีวราวุฒิศิลปอาชาเนี่ยท่านก็กำชับมาในเรื่องของพเนียดตรงนั้นที่มีอยู่ปัจจุบันเนี่ยมันเพียงพอไหม
Thailand was hit by drought this year, and the elephants may have been looking for new sources of drinking water, but it is also possible they were trying to avoid contact with humans. Only 2 survived who did not fall but found themselves trapped on the thin, slippery sliver of rock above the churning waters. Rescuers tossed food laced with nutritional supplements in an attempt to boost the animals' energy and give them the strength to climb back up into the forest. Varawut said the pair was alive and kicking and on the road to recovery. Authorities are also faced with the challenging process of recovering the heavy bodies. For now, the Department of National Parks has installed a net to catch the carcasses when the current pushes them downstream. The NBA's lucrative interests in China are under threat in a dispute over democracy protests in Hong Kong. Although the league remains massively popular in China, basketball enthusiasts in Beijing hope that the NBA can deliver an apology that meets their expectations.
就是可能是觉得还是爱国是最重要的吧，可能，但是如果他们道歉的话，我们怎么说，反正国家高于一切吧，可能我们虽然很爱打球，但是可能更爱国一些吧。
再继续看了，就是从我的角度来说，如果是他要是支持香港独立的话，我感觉就是我们还是更多关注一下 CBA 吧。对于 NBA 来说，还是说少看一点，因为我们要身为一个中国人，要支持自己的国家。
Up next, U.S. civil rights birthplace elects its first black mayor. California turns off power to prevent wildfires. Trump tweets, quote, U.S. going into Middle East was worst decision ever. Ex-President Bush's paintings tell of the toll on those he sent to war. Eagle News, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Eagle News coming to you from Las Vegas. Voters in Montgomery, Alabama, the southern city considered the birthplace of the U.S. Civil Rights Movement, have elected their first African-American mayor. Stephen Reed, a 45-year-old county probate judge, easily defeated David Woods, a local television station owner, by 32,918 votes to 16,010 votes in Tuesday's runoff election.
This election has never been about me. This election has never been about just my ideas. It's been about all of the hopes and dreams that we have as individuals and collectively in this city. Tonight sent a signal not just to all of us here in Montgomery, all of us in Alabama. It sent a signal throughout this country about what type of community we are right now. Not what we were, but what we are right now and what we want to do going forward. If there was any doubt about what we can do when we come together, when we unify in this city, let the record show tonight, above all, show what we can do when we come together in this city and we build around positivity, around opportunity, and all the things that tie us together, rather than those things that keep us apart. This is what we can do as a community, as a city, and let this go far beyond Montgomery, let it go far beyond Alabama, and let it go far beyond this nation, that we made a statement here tonight, and I thank all of you for being a part of that.
Montgomery, the capital of Alabama, has a population of around 200,000, 60% of whom are Black, and was founded in 1819. It was briefly the capital of the Confederacy after southern states seceded from the Union in 1861, sparking the U.S. Civil War. The city was the site of the 1955 arrest of Rosa Parks, a Black woman who refused to give up her seat on the public bus in what is considered a seminal moment in the civil rights movement. Civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. preached at a Baptist church in Montgomery, and the city was the scene of several protests seeking an end to segregation. Bro Crift, the executive editor of the Montgomery Advertiser newspaper, described Reed's election as a, quote, historic moment for a city heralded for changing civil rights for all. Rolling blackouts affecting up to 800,000 customers began Wednesday in parts of California as a utility company switched off power because of hot, windy weather that raises the risk of wildfires. Pacific Gas and Electric, which announced the three-phase deliberate power outage, is working to prevent a repeat of a catastrophe last November in which power lines it owned were determined to have sparked California's deadliest wildfire ever. In that inferno, 85 people died and a town called Paradise was virtually destroyed. The company has been found responsible for dozens of other wildfires in recent years too. This is peak wildfire season in California. PG&E said the severe weather incident prompting the precautions this time, hot, dry conditions, and winds gusting at up to 70 miles per hour, is expected to last through midday Thursday in parts of northern and central California. The outages could last up to a week in some places. Some 800,000 customers actually means millions of people will be affected. The city of San Francisco is not affected by the intentional shutoff, but much of the surrounding Bay Area could go dark, including parts of Silicon Valley. The first part of the so-called public safety power shutoff began at midnight Tuesday into Wednesday in Northern California, in a broad swath of land that includes the Napa Valley wine country. The utility company said it affected around 513,000 customers there. The rest of the San Francisco Bay Area started losing power in waves around noon local time. A possible third-time phase could take place later in the day farther south. News reports said schools and universities canceled classes for Wednesday, and people stocked up on gasoline, water, batteries, and other basics. PG&E said it expected to start turning the power back on Thursday, but can only do this after inspecting its equipment for damage, and this could take days in some areas. U.S. President Donald Trump said Wednesday the U.S. military becoming involved in the Middle East was the, quote, worst decision ever made, and that he was ensuring the safe return of troops. Trump has faced a bipartisan backlash since a surprise announcement by the White House on Sunday that Washington was pulling back 50 to 100 special operators from Syria's northern frontier. Trump said, quote, going into the Middle East is the worst decision ever made in the history of our country. We went to war under a false and now disproven premise, weapons of mass destruction, the president tweeted in reference to the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq. There were none. Now we are slowly and carefully bringing our great soldiers and military home. Our focus is on the big picture. The USA is greater than ever before. The toll taken on members of the American military sent to war by George W. Bush is being highlighted in paintings by the former U.S. president at an exhibition in Washington. Command Sergeant Major Brian Flom was wounded in the face by a rocket attack in Iraq in 2007. Standing next to a painting featuring him and other military personnel, he says the exhibition has put post-traumatic stress in the public eye, giving him a, quote, platform to show that we can deal with it and still be productive members of society.
It's kind of put it in the public's eye, and it shows that, hey, we can, have our post-traumatic stress, but it doesn't have to be a disorder, right? It's just it's something that we all have, and everybody. And it's not necessarily tied to veterans. And it's allowed me to give that platform and show that we can deal with it and still be productive members of society. And
that's really what I hope people will look at, read our stories, and realize, like, hey, I identify with them. Hey, Rod's just like me, or just like my cousin, or my crazy uncle,
Up next, Hawaii's iconic Blaisdell Center is scheduled to undergo a multi-million-dollar makeover. Eagle News will return shortly. Welcome back. This is Eagle News broadcasting from Las Vegas. Since 1964, the Neil S. Blaisdell Center in Honolulu has brought memorable moments for audiences not just in Hawaii, but even around the world. And now the Blaisdell is set to undergo major reconstruction, which comes with a heavy price tag and some scrutiny by public officials. Our Hawaii correspondent, Joji Karnate, has the details.
I think our community leaders saw it as the way we see it now, as sort of the center for the culture and arts in our community.
Located east of downtown Honolulu, between South King Street and Kapilani Boulevard, is Hawaii's largest and most popular community complex, the Neil S. Blaisdell Center. This includes the concert hall, exhibition center, and arena. The city's Director of Enterprise Services took some time to share with Eagle News about the rich history of this place.
So the campus that we're sitting on right now, the Neil S. Blaisdell Center, opened in 1964 as the Honolulu International Center, 22 acres. To me, it's a great story. It replaced the Honolulu Civic Auditorium, which was a couple blocks down the road on King Street from where we are. Very modest facility, probably sat on about an acre to an acre and a half of land, one structure that everything fit into. Wrestling, concerts, roller derby, graduations. Our civic and community leaders at the time had a much grander vision. They took us from this postage stamp of land and one facility to a multi-facility venue on 22 acres of land. I believe this site was selected because from looking at the newspaper stories at the time, it was lamented as the last open space in Honolulu. In 1964, they were talking about how we were taking the last open space in Honolulu and creating this gathering place.
For more than 5 decades, the Blaisdell became the gathering place for events like concerts and other events for many famous people. One of those celebrities was Elvis Presley, who is still remembered to this day for his live performance that was also shown worldwide by satellite in January 1973. Eagle News got to visit the very dressing room where the king of rock and roll prepared for the historic concert. Meanwhile, one organization that utilized Blaisdell's facilities through the years is the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ, as seen here during their most recent event. The grand celebration of the 50th anniversary of the Church of Christ in the 58th state has just concluded here in Blaisdell Arena. Guy also described the city's goal to finally give the Blaisdell a new and refreshing look. The price tag for this master plan is currently almost $800 million.
Our goals for the designers was one, water has always been a significant part of this campus and needed to be in the future. Two, the Blaisdell, when it was first conceived and opened, was dedicated as a memorial to Hawaii's veterans. And we wanted to rededicate it in that fashion. So there needed to be a significant component to the design that honored that nature of the Blaisdell. And so we have this War Memorial Plaza that is one of the major entries into the future campus. Basically, everything on the campus is rebuilt other than the concert hall. That will stay and be significantly renovated in the interior. A little bit of the exterior will be touched. The rest of the campus comes down and gets rebuilt, but the arena is going to look like it was rehabilitated as opposed to rebuilt, because we're rebuilding it to look the same.
Guy and other city leaders have acknowledged the concerns of clients who frequently use Blaisdell's facilities and have repeatedly engaged with them with hopes of maintaining their trust and loyalty during and after the construction period.
We have several annual tenants, and some who have seasons here. The ballet has a season, the symphony has a season, Hawaii Opera Theater has a season. And we've been talking to those groups and many more, especially the ones that also have exhibitions, about alternatives. The unfortunate thing is the city doesn't have an alternative. We don't have another facility that these folks could go into and hold their events while we're under construction. But we've been having the dialogue with them, and we feel like we've had it early enough that they can start to look for alternatives on their own. And we were concerned that all of our efforts to try to keep a particular facility open may not end up being beneficial if people, for one reason or another, decide they don't want to come down to a construction site to see an event. So the easiest thing was to say, we'll close the facility all at once. If we have an opportunity to roll venues back online one at a time, then we would do that. So presently we haven't been taking bookings for anything past December of 2020, which is our scheduled closure.
Less than a week after this interview, the Honolulu City Council called upon the Blaisdell manager to inquire on how much the taxpayers will shoulder the $772 million price tag. Although the city has emphasized public-private partnerships for financing, it yet to provide more specific information. One thing is certain, however, the new facilities will need to generate huge profits. At present, the cost of maintenance is around $15 million a year. Blaisdell is generating only $6 million in annual revenue. Reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii, this is Joji Carnate, Eagle News. I am 1 with 25.
Thanks, Joji. That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for the weekend edition. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I'm Anna Kui, and I am 1 with 25.